Hey everyone, it's Ange Sinclair from Digestive Detective. Tonight I thought I would come on just after dinner for Friday night for those people who are home like me doing nothing. I wanted to talk to you about a case study that I did with the lovely Corey Barsick. Sorry, Corey, if I've messed up your last name. So Corey didn't want to appear on camera, which is fair enough. So I told her I would, she so generously, sent me the questions, and I told her that I'd read them out. So like we did today with Angie. So if you saw that, if you didn't, go back and watch it. It was really good. Facebook gods weren't on our side this morning, so it was a really trying time for all of us. So I'm glad that she had sent me the questions that she would answer, and I could send them out to all of you guys. So with Corey, I asked her the same thing because she's camera shy, so she didn't want to come on. So initially Corey came, the question I asked her was what motivated her to seek help with me. And her comments was she'd had gut-related issues for as long as she could remember over the 27 years of her life. They really got quite significant over the past 2 years, and she was just desperate for help. She had saw some regular medical practitioners, including dietitians, a gastroenterologist, and many, many doctors, and they just didn't understand what the problems were for her. And she couldn't get to the root of the symptoms, and she said her symptoms, and I remember Corey, when she came in, she was in a pretty distressed way, actually. So her symptoms were impacting her ability to do regular things in her everyday life. And basically she was fed up with it. So she Googled digestive naturopath, and my name popped up, and she found out that I was 10 minutes away. So she thought this was a sign, which was great. And so she gave me a call. And the next question I asked her was, can you tell me what your experience in terms of digestive symptoms? So this was really interesting for her, and her statement is, where do I start? She said since the day she was born, she had more antibiotics than most regular people. And she said she'd been on long-time antibiotics on and off over the years. So we know that regular antibiotic use can be problematic, and to be on long-term antibiotic use can absolutely destroy your gut. So, and people often say about, oh, well, it's okay because I can just take probiotics and it'll fix it. That is not the case. For some bacteria in your gut with antibiotics, it can kill them for 4 years. Others, it can completely wipe out forever. So be mindful when you take antibiotics. So she'd taken a lot of antibiotics. She said it absolutely ruined her gut. And she said every day her life consisted of extreme bloating just from eating normal foods like apples or rice, and constant farting, like several farts an hour to relieve the bloating. The bloating created such bad stomach pain, and this is what I remember vividly about her on the day she came to me, in her upper abdomen, that she couldn't drink water, wear fitted clothes, exercise, or even stand up straight. Every time after eating. So most nights after eating dinner, she was confined to the fetal position on her lounge until her food was digested hours later. She has very slow bowels and transit time. At one point, she was only pooping once a week. So she had foul-smelling poo, breath and farts, you name it. She said it was all foul-smelling. And at 27, that's a pretty tough call, don't you think? So this made her life really hard. It meant she couldn't go to the gym, going out for dinner, going on holidays, or going to a friend's house, or even to work was incredibly difficult for her. So that's pretty challenging, I would suggest. So some of the questions, the next question was, what challenges did she face when she started working with me? And I love her answer here. She says, getting used to the taste of the herbs was pretty tough. She said, but I got used to that pretty quickly. She said now she can shot some seriously aggressive herbs now without flinching. And that made me chuckle because I have men who go, oh no, I don't think I can take those. So I've also struggled with removing certain foods from her diet as her body started to reject foods that she needed to heal. So essentially, Corey's diet got really quite restrictive for a time, and that was just because she couldn't tolerate foods. So we had to redo some of that. So she also had to get used to the fact that healing is not a linear journey. And we talked about this quite a lot. Anybody who thinks that when they've got a gut problem that they can just take a couple of pills, do some things and it'll be fine, that's not normally the case. There's normally lots of up and downs and sideways. So it's best to get with it and know that some days are going to be great, some days are going to be terrible, and just work through that. So she said healing is up and down, and sometimes easy and sometimes hard. She's still learning to not let the lows discourage her, and to not let the highs convince her that she's fully healed and start to eat raw onions again. She's just been on holidays and she has done this, and it's turned her into a wreck again. So she knows she's got to be patient, because holistic healing requires consistency and there are no shortcuts. So, and I think that's a really valid point. You know, the one thing that I can say attest to with my own gut issues and with clients that I see, you know, over the last 10 years is that the more you're consistent, the better results you'll get. And the next question I asked was, what have you achieved by following the treatment plan we put together? She says, again, where do I start? She can now eat apples and rice without reverting to the fetal position immediately. She's now pooping more frequently and regularly, identifying her trigger foods, so foods that really set her off. Reduced the constant farting that she had to occasional farting of a healthy microbiome, and no longer having foul-smelling poos, fart or breath, which is really great. So even if she decides to eat a couple of Oreos or something that isn't best for my healing later on, she said she's still able to go to the gym, stand up straight, go to work and do her regular life without the painful suffering that she had before. Which I think is terrific, because Corey and I have worked together probably about 6 months now, so that's a really good outcome from where she was, because I remember terribly folded in half because she was in such incredible pain. And so what's one thing, I asked the question, what is one thing you have loved working about working with me? And she said, I love that Ange always finds the best solutions for me, even when I feel stuck. She'll never force me into doing anything, yet gently helps me push my comfort zone. I love that Ange is trusting and positive, and that if I eat something that sets me back, she reminds me that I'm only human, which I think is true for all of us to remember. We are all only human, and we just do... Sometimes we do human things, you know, so sometimes we're going to fall off the wagon. It's about getting back on and trying to be more consistent. And that it's all part of the process. She said she also loves that I'm pretty flexible and willing to adjust our course of action based on what's most practical and most likely to set her up for success. She said, I love she explains the why behind her treatment plans and educates me on the healing journey. She's just really balanced, intuitive, empathetic, and an easy practitioner to work with. Thanks, Corey. That's really nice of you to say that. And my next question to her was, does she think that people would get the same benefits if they work through a course? And she says definitely. So a lot of the course structure that I have made is what you would get if you came to see me in clinic. So even though it's a short 8-day course, a lot of the structure is probably in a better format, because they're short, sharp chunks that you can take and digest, my pun intended, and think about. Whereas I'm giving you all this information in practice, all in one big hit in 2 hours, and it's overwhelming. So this is a really nice way to take it and get little tiny bits all at once. So I think that's a good thing. And she says she would consider an online arrangement herself. So regardless of whether it's face-to-face or online, if it's crafted by Ange, you're going to see the results because she knows her clients. So that's very lovely of her to say that. So everybody knows the cart is open now for my course. It's 8 days. It's $29.95. It's a really great way to, if you struggle with gut stuff, it's a really good way for you to take power back. And it's a good way for you to be able to take charge of what's happening with you. You know, I have people coming in telling me that they have pain in their belly button and they're pointing to under their stomach. Well, that's not where your stomach is. So we forget those things. So I think it's a really good leveler and a refresher for a lot of us that we know that we can, you know, go, okay, well, it's over here on my right side where my liver would be. So they're all really useful things. I do quite a bit of talking about food over 2 days. But for me, the priceless bit will be the Facebook group, because I'm going to go in there every night for an hour and sometimes during the day and to do you know, short talks on the organs that we're talking about in that particular day. So you know that if you're experiencing these things, it could certainly be because that organ's not working the way it should. So it'll give you some ideas to pinpoint where things are going wrong for you. So if you haven't signed up, I'll put the link below and you can certainly do that. The doors are closing on Sunday, so you've only got 2 more days to go. At $29.95, it really is a bargain. And I'd love to see you in there. The more the merrier. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great Friday night. Bye.